All right, guys. So we are all done with day one of the Wealthy Trustee Workshop. So today we went over the business trust. So we got the opportunity to review all the contents of the trust. So what I want to do is I want to open up the floor for any questions that you guys might have regarding any of the information that we went over today. So please raise your hand, and then you can also put your questions in the chat as well. So we can get started. So Miss Alania Bay, how are you? Miss Bay, you're on mute. Do you have a question?
I'm sorry, I forgot about that. Yes, I just wanted to ask a couple of questions. Okay, you said you can put the family trust into a business trust, correct?
So,
Is that what you
yeah,
said?
so you can make the beneficiary of the business trust the family trust.
Okay, and what about if you're going to do a foreign grantors trust? Do you just put all of you just put all of your trust into the foreign grantors trust?
If you want to, yes.
Because I'm about to do that also. You can do that, okay. Um, there was
You're breaking up.
one other one, the first trustee. So I have co-trustees, but they're not trust. Is it just the first trustee that signs on the on the documents, or do they all the co-trustees have to sign also?
It's the
Because I
first
have
trustee.
somebody that's way up
So the
out
agreement is
the
between the grantor and the first trustee.
country.
Only the first trustee has to sign.
It's just the first
Hello?
trustee.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
thought the
but
co-trustees had to sign also. I think that's it for right now. You can give somebody else. Go ahead. What did you say? I didn't hear you.
the co-trustees have to execute the certificate of trust. They have to sign the certificate of trust.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's
All
all I
right.
have.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Bay. Next we have Elaine. How are you?
Welcome.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, good
How are you?
afternoon. I'm great. How are you doing?
Good, thanks. I have just two questions. The first question is the certificate of trust okay to provide to the bank given that it has the EIN number on it?
Yes, the bank is going to ask for the EIN number, so it's really convenient that the EIN number is already on the certificate of trust. Whoever you're providing the certificate of trust to, most likely they need the EIN.
Right, okay. And the next question is, besides having the trust notarized, is there anything else that it needs in order for it to be an effective trust?
No, you don't want to register it anywhere else. So
Correct.
the notarization is what makes it legal and you can start operating it. So you don't want to register with your city or your county or your state. No.
Correct. Yes, that's what I thought. I just wanted to double check. And regarding the date, for example, when I did the first one back in January and I'd put the dates we did them like January 9th, 11th, 12th, so forth, though it is signed at a later date, that is still okay?
Yes, because the date that you're putting is the establishment date or when the agreement happened. It's not the notarization date. The date that is notarized is separate from the day that the actual agreement, the verbal agreement or contract happened.
Okay. I know you just mentioned, but I wanted to be 100% clear. Thank you so much. That's all for right now.
You're so welcome. Thank you, Elaine. All right,
Thank
next we have, thank you. Next we have JC.
Hey, how's it going, Christina?
Great, great,
Um,
great.
I'm, I wanted to ask you about, I think it was page 18 to 48. I know that you said in there like age 30 that you wanted to do something, but I believe that you had mentioned that, you want the trust to be the beneficiary to be the private family trust. But you had the age on there. So is it the age of the company of the private trust? Because I know they said on there the beneficiary when it gets to age 30 or whatever. But if the private trust is going to be the beneficiary, do we still need to keep the age there, or is it okay to leave it there or not?
Yeah, so it's so when we're referring to those spendthrift provisions, we're referring to any natural person that is acting as a beneficiary. So it's not the age of the trust, right? So it's not applicable to the family trust. It's only applicable to in the event that you decide that you want to have like your children or any other person, right? So not everyone makes the family trust their beneficiary. There are some people who make their children their beneficiary of their business trust. So those spendthrift provisions are going to be applicable to those natural persons that are the beneficiary. And in the future, let's just say that your family trust is dissolved, right? So now you have to change the beneficiary of your business trust to, to either another entity, or you could put put your children on there. So in the future, it might change, right? Just depending on the circumstances. So in the event in the future that there's any natural person that becomes a beneficiary, then those spendthrift provisions will apply to them.
Got it, got it. So it's good to leave it, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Now the other question is with the grantor, that has been a little difficult to explain to others because one, it's a common law trust and it's not done by, a lawyer. And so I'm trying to, we have people that trust us, but, you know, explaining it, people look at it from a statutory way, like, oh, the grantor takes there and they live in trust kind of thing. So that's the difficulty we have. We understand the common law a lot better and kind of what you're saying, but it's kind of, you got to have somebody can trust you, but you have to be able to have somebody that has the mindset to understand kind of all these things you're breaking down. And that's where the difficulty we're having right now. And so we're like, so I'm trying to reach out to a guy that's in like Marvin Mitchell's group and stuff like that, knows me, and just to get somebody that understands, what we're kind of talking about a little bit. Because he has a trust, but he is a statutory, but he understands the grantor and all that. So, I mean, you have any advice on that? Because that's where I'm dealing with is not everybody understands this. Finding the person, because like we said, we got people that love us. They like, oh yeah, I signed as a coach. But with the trust thing, because it's so different in our communities, it's not really understood well. So I feel like I have to do a whole education just to get somebody to understand what we're doing. If that makes sense.
It's so true.
Help a
And
brother out. Help a brother out, Christina.
yeah. So one thing that you're going to find is that once you operate as a trustee, you have to provide a lot of education to a lot of other people because it's not a common thing, right? So you're going to have to be educating your bankers, your the title company, like the dealership, like all kind of agents. Even the people in the county, right? Because they're not familiar. When it comes to the grantor, we have people in our community that will serve as your grantor. So we're coming up with a directory. We actually have it already. So I just have to check with the team to make sure if the list is like finalized. But we have a list of individuals in our community that are willing and able to serve as your grantor if you need them to. So if you are having challenges finding someone, then come to the community and any one of us will be able to serve as your grantor.
Okay, so they don't have to live in my same state and be there present with the notary to do it?
No,
Okay.
and we also have notaries too in our community. So there's several of us. I'm a notary, Flo is a notary, Gerda's a notary, Annecy is a notary. So we also assist with that as well.
Well, can you be my
But
notary?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Of course. So,
That's a smart move that it,
I know, that's very smart. Yeah.
Okay, now the other question I have,
yeah.
yeah, because you understand what's going on. So,
Yes.
now the other question I have is, with the grantor, it seems like I should not, you correct me if I'm wrong, I should not put any of my personal assets in when it's created first, because the grantor is just creating the trust, right? And then after you create it, then I can start putting assets under there, like under the schedule and all that, right? Because once it's over to the trustee, then I can kind of start adding assets in after that, after it's created. Let me know what you're thinking, because I'm trying to find out if I'm creating it with asset names on it already, but the grantor does not actually own those assets, but the trustee does. That's where that in between, like I feel like I'm the legal side and it's all legal, but I'm getting kind of lost on, because all these assets are on in mainly me and my wife's name. And so I'm trying to figure out, I don't want to be putting the asset in the person's name so they can grant it to the trust. So it gets a little confusing for me. And I'm just trying to see if we can simplify it, in a way that I can understand how to do the deeds and stuff.
Okay, so you're going to establish the trust before you put the assets inside of the trust, okay? So all the grantor is doing is putting the initial consideration, which is whatever it is that you want. So we put $1, $2, $10, whatever it is, right? That's what they are conveying or donating to the actual trust, okay? So today's Monday, you are establishing the trust today, right? And then let's just say you go get it notarized today, right? So today that grantor hands you the $1, right? And so now the initial property that's put inside of the trust is already done, which is that fiat currency, okay? And so now the grantor is done and they walk away from the trust, right? They have no power, no control, no benefit, right? At that point in time, the trust is already established, it's legalized, it's operating, right? Anybody can put property into the trust, meaning you, your wife, your father, your mother, your children, your neighbor, your coworker, anyone can gift property to the trust. So you establish the trust on Monday. By Friday, you're like, okay, well, let's put these 5 pieces of real estate into the trust, right? So then you as a trustee decide to gift those properties into the trust, right? So that is happening after the trust is established. The trust needs to be established already. It already needs to be, legalized before you put any property in there. So it happens, I guess, chronologically that way. Where you legalize the trust, the grantor conveys whatever that initial property is, and then later on you are then transferring property into the trust. That could be the next day. That could be 1 hour after the trust. But yeah,
So,
it is. Go
so
ahead.
the grantor can add it can add our assets to the document, even though we are going to put it in later as a trustee, or
Yes,
no?
so It's, you are the one that's adding the property into the trust. So every single asset that goes inside the trust doesn't need to come from the grantor.
Got it.
Yeah, so it's up to you to be able to accept those assets into the trust at any point in time
As a trustee.
as a trustee.
Got it. So got it. So even before the trust is created, we can still list those items, is what you're saying. I can list the LLCs and all that stuff and list all those items so that we won't have to keep doing two different notaries with two different documents, right? So, but then I actually, as a trustee, do the actual real work necessarily to make that actual, documented. Is that correct?
Yeah, so the Schedule B is where you list the assets, and the Schedule B doesn't need to be notarized. And it's designed for you to be able to, update it or amend it whenever you need to amend it. So you're just
Okay.
listing,
I'm
yeah, the
sorry, I didn't
Schedule
miss.
B. Yeah, the Schedule B is where you list all the assets, so you can list it now, but the actual conveyance is not gonna happen until days or weeks or months after.
That
Whenever
makes
you
sense.
get, whenever you get around to it.
So the schedule B, C, D, and A are not even a part of the really notarized document for the trust. Is that correct?
Right, so it's only that first page, that is the notarized document of the trust, right? The Schedule A, B, C, and D, those are extensions of the trust, so those are different parts of your trust documents, but it's not the indenture.
That makes perfect sense. Okay. I think I might have had one more question, but you clarified that really well. As it regards the business trust, would it be smart for me to put my Wyoming LLC as the trustee over the business trust? Given that I'll probably be signing a lot of documents, business is a great reason why people like to sue businesses a lot or whatever. Like, would it be smart to use that way if somebody looks, when I have to sign a document on behalf of the trust or whatever, if my name is on there, it has to show up. But if the company shows up, they won't find my name from the Wyoming LLC if they want to create a lawsuit. So I'm just saying as extra layer of protection, would it be smart to have a grantor and then my LLC be the trustee for that?
Yes, that's a wonderful idea. It's very smart, and it is, you double protected, so absolutely yes.
Okay. Those are all the questions I have for right now. Thank you so much,
Can you
Christine.
repeat,
You're so welcome.
can you
All right,
repeat
next.
that one more time?
Yes, Ms. Bay?
Just asking if he can repeat that, putting the LLC as what over the trust?
As the trustee, he has a Wyoming LLC and he wants to list his LLC as the trustee.
Okay, yeah, I have a Wyoming LLC too. That's why I was asking. Okay, thank you.
You're so welcome. So
And I
the
wanted to
grant.
say how grateful I am of you, honey. You always come to me by giving one of the trusts at the perfect time because I'm about to do my business trust, and this is just a refresher for me. So I just want to say I really appreciate you, Christina, and I think you're doing a fabulous job. And you're an outstanding young lady, and thank you for such knowledge. I'm telling you, you're just a wealth of knowledge. And I just wanted to make sure I let everybody know that.
Thank you so much, Ms. Bay. I really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for being a part of the community. Thank you for always participating in the workshops. We really, value you and the role that you play in this community. So thank you so much.
You're welcome, sweetie.
All right, next we're gonna go to Osiris. Am I saying your name right? O-L?
Yeah, my name is Cyrus. Hi,
Oh,
Christina.
hi, how are
Nice
you?
to finally meet you.
Yes,
Um,
nice to meet you.
yes. I had a couple quick questions. One was about the board of, I'm sorry, the board of directors. So typically, they're not going to be like your children, right? Going to be somebody outside of your family, or
Yeah, so usually, so they can be related to you, but they're not going to be beneficiaries. So the board of trustees are, you know, other individuals. So they don't have to be related to you. They could be people that you hire to assist you with managing the trust, or they could just be people that you're close to that you appoint to, you know, help you with the day-to-day operations. But the individuals that are officers in the board cannot be beneficiaries. So just, you know, just think about that.
okay, thank you for that.
You're
So
welcome.
typically, just say going forward, I want to start purchasing properties. Am I going to do it through the business trust and then hold it there and then convey it later over into my private trust? Or is that typically what?
So that is a good strategy. So for example, let's just say that you're building business credit, and then you're going to use that business credit to acquire the property, or because the business you know, has credit, you want to use that in order to purchase the real estate, you can. And then, so you can either hold it in the business trust if you want to. But the thing about that is that if the business trust is having credit, then it has a public profile, right? It has the public record that's associated with it. And so you want to move it to another trust that's private, that doesn't have a public profile or public record. So that is a strategy that you can use. You can also purchase straight from the, you know, the family trust if you want to. So that's another way that you can do it. Any of the trusts can qualify for mortgages. Any of them can qualify for any type of loan. So it doesn't, as long as you qualify, right? So as long as you have the income to show it, or the tax returns, or anything that they need in order for you to be able to qualify for the mortgage. If you're even using a mortgage. So, you know, it just depends, but you can purchase straight from the private trust, or you can use the business trust if you're going down the route of building business credit.
But why would I even hold any properties in the business trust anyway? Why don't I just, if I'm purchasing it personally, why don't I just convey it directly to my family trust, my private trust, and hold it there? Because technically what you're saying is that this this business trust is irrevocable, right? So when it's labeled like that, don't you even have issues even trying to sell that property, or like, because you're limited to certain things, correct?
So the only person who's limited is the grantor, right? So with the irrevocable trust, as long as you as the trustee feel like it's necessary for you to sell the property, it can be sold. There's no problem. They're not going to give you issues, right? And you can switch it, right? You can switch the ownership from one trust to the next. They're not going to give you
Right.
any issues, right? So you are representing the trust, and you're saying it's in the best interest of the trust for me to sell this property, to liquidate it, to put the cash inside of the bank account. That's not an issue. I forgot your first question. So you said, why would you even, what was the first one? Why would you even purchase with
No,
the business?
you answered that. It's all good. I ain't got a lot I gotta kind of go. But one more thing about the TCUs. Um, what would be the even point of that if technically the beneficiaries is gonna be your private trust, and wouldn't you just worry about the TCUs in your private trust anyway? Because I mean, I guess you could do both, but because this say if you passed away and you had your family trust as the beneficiary, and then inside of the private trust you had your children as the beneficiaries. So they all just kind of trickle down anyway, right?
Yeah,
So
that's the
why
way it's
even
designed.
stress yourself out about all this other TCU stuff if it's just kind of gonna be more like work to do? You know what I mean? If you pass, it's just gonna
Yeah, so some people decide to delete it, right? So you leave what you want and remove what you don't want, right? So if you feel like in the future there's no chance that that your kids are gonna be on the business trust, then you can just remove all that stuff that you feel is not applicable, because it's referring to humans versus to another trust.
so ultimately, what would be the biggest benefit of even having a business trust? I mean, obviously to do business, but aside from having like your private, I mean, obviously you're gonna you're gonna hold, I guess, your business bank accounts there, right? And you're gonna have
Yeah, so the business trust is if you are operating a business, right? There's no question about it, right? If you have a business, it needs to go inside of the business trust. It cannot go inside of the family trust. That's not the best practice. So that's the whole point, right? If you don't have a business, then you probably don't see the benefit of having a business trust, right? So the business trust is to protect you on the business side because your LLCs, your corporations, they are dealing commercially, they're dealing in the public with customers and clients, they have products, they have services. So you're at risk every single day and you don't want to be held liable. So you want the business trust to be held liable. You don't want your name on it. So that's the whole point of the business trust. And so because it's out there conducting itself in the public already, then you can benefit from, building business credit and getting more money, from banks and stuff like that so that you can pull it into the private. So there's a lot of reasons, but it's for business. So yeah, you're not like anything dealing with business is not personal.
right. You're
So
sorry, I was question. Oh, I got you. I got you. I got you. Um, I think you answered my question. I appreciate you. I got a boogie. I guess I'll see you tomorrow. I'll be at work, but
okay.
thank you so much
All
for
right.
everything.
Cyrus
And
got a boogie, you guys.
we'll talk soon. Peace and love.
Okay. All righty. Take care. All right. Next we have Elaine. Hey Elaine, how are you? And then I need to look inside of the chat.
I had one last quick question. Oh, it's regarding the grantor and the trustee. So let's say I have a trust, no, an LLC, a LLC that I would use as a trustee. Would it be considered conflict of interest if I, Elaine, the living, breathing person, is the grantor and one of my LLCs is the trustee?
Yes, because you're gonna have to sign for both of them.
And if for that LLC is there's a manager managing that LLC where I'm not really acting, I'm only considered the person who started the LLC, but I'm not actually acting, have a role in it, a functioning role or an operating role. Would that still make it the conflict, or either way it's a yes?
I mean, so if you have another person who's a part of that LLC and you want that person to then pretty much be, the representative for the LLC in the trustee position, you can do that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, let me see. I think so JC said I have 48 pages. Okay, so did you click on the template that's in the email, or did you go based off of the template that's in the course. Let me see. Bridget says I have access to the video recordings. Yeah, so these are recorded and we upload them about 1 to 2 hours after the workshop is done. So we will be uploading them shortly, and then when you log in, you should see 2 sections. So one section says Wealthy Trustee Program, the other one says Workshop Recording. So that's where you'll be able to find all the recordings. Okay, Chris has a question. Go ahead. Can you unmute, Chris?
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Go for it.
Sister Yvette, thank you. Thanks for the information.
Welcome.
Or should I call you minister? Are you like a bishop or something?
Yeah, I'm an ordained minister.
Yeah, Bishop Yvette. Just you had mentioned in the email about the registered agent for the business trust, but that was but I also heard you mention that we shouldn't register with the state.
Yeah, so it's not for the business trust, it's for the nonprofit, and it's just internal information. So with the nonprofit, we create articles of organization and we appoint either our secretary or our treasurer or our trustee to be the registered registered agent, which is whoever's receiving the correspondence for the organization. So it's just internal. We put it actually in our trust constitution.
All right, and then the address. It looks like you're recommending that iPostal as an option.
Yeah. So you don't want to use the same address that you're associated with. You want the trust to have its own address, and preferably it should have like a commercial address or so. I recommend that you guys get a virtual address. I like iPostal. They're a good company. And they're the company I use. So I recommend them. I have my referral link in the email if you guys are interested in going after and getting your a separate address for the trust. You don't want the trust to have the same address or contact information that you use.
Okay, so with the iPostal that you used, do they allow you to purchase an address from them and then have that mail forwarded somewhere else?
Yeah, you can choose. Yeah,
Okay.
and so it's private, so no one's gonna know that the mail is being forwarded, to your home or to your PO box or wherever you want it to go.
The other one was about this was earlier at the top of the section 6 or 7, I think it was, about the board of trustees having 3 or more. And if we have a first trustee, a co-trustee, does that third one serve simply as a trustee, or can they also be a successor trustee? Do they have to be 2 different people?
Yeah, they can't be a successor trustee, so
Okay.
that third person, you can put them as like a secretary or a treasurer or someone that's there to assist, or a general manager, someone who's there, to assist, but it can't be a successor trustee and it can't be a beneficiary.
Okay, and any of those positions can be an LLC, it sounds like, or does it have to be a breathing person?
It could be an entity.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, next we have Arlandria.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, perfect. How are you?
I'm well. I don't know if you covered this already, but I have a corporation that's in my name, and will acquiring this business trust, can I transfer, like, get it out my name and put it in the trust name, and how would I do that?
Yeah, so we're gonna go through that on Friday. So if you have a business and that business is in your personal name, then you have to do an amendment with the Secretary of States. I'll show you how to do that. So whatever state that you created that business in, you want to have an amendment. You want to actually do an amendment with the Secretary of State to remove you as, you know, as the owner or authorized member or person. And then you're gonna put the business trust, you're gonna add the business trust.
Okay, awesome, thanks.
You're so welcome. All right, and then Miss Annalia Bay.
Hey, I have one more question. I'm getting ready to go after the call. I'm getting ready to go to get my bill of sale for the vehicle that we did to have that notarized. Do I take that once it's notarized to the IRS, or do I take that to the DMV?
You take it to the DMV. Usually on your bill of sale, you'll see where you're supposed to submit it to. So some states it's the tax collector's office or where they do like title and registration, but majority of
Right.
all the states, the DMV.
Okay, and then we put that in. Are they supposed to give us anything once we do that?
Yeah, they're gonna give you they're gonna retitle the vehicle into the name of the trust. So you're gonna get a new title.
Okay, and then I can put that trust, that whatever they're giving me into another trust, like another trust, right?
No, so your title is going to have whatever trust that you put, that you chose to convey that vehicle into. And now you're just gonna add that to your trust documents, to your trust records. So any deeds,
Do you
any title.
do you recommend putting it into the business trust, or do you recommend putting it into the family or the ministry trust?
So for the vehicles, I recommend you guys put it, it just depends, right? So the thing with the vehicles is that they are a high liability vehicle, right? You're driving this car every single day. You might get into an accident. Somebody might try to sue you, right?
Mhm.
So you don't want to put it into another trust that you have all of your assets in, right? So if you don't have any assets in your business trust, just put it in your business trust. If that's the only asset in your family trust, then put it in your family trust.
I see.
Um,
Okay.
so yeah,
Do
it
you
just
have do you have to have the bank account open when you put these things in the trust?
yeah, best practice is for you to have the bank account already open before you transfer assets because these assets are now the financial responsibility of the trust. And so you should already have that trust fund opened up or created.
Okay. All right. I'm presently trying to deal with Charles Schwab. I just finished their application and I'm about to send it off. But do you know much about Charles Schwab and how they operate compared to Fidelity?
Yeah, so
I know you say you
Charles,
like Fidelity.
yeah, I do like
Go
Fidelity.
ahead.
Fidelity doesn't charge you anything in order for you to open up a trust fund. But Charles Schwab, I think their minimum is $3,000.
It's 100. They let you put in 100.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah, 100.
so what kind
If
of
it,
account is
and
it?
then I come up
Because
with, huh?
what kind of account is it?
What did you?
I
It's
said
gonna
what
be the trust account. The family trust.
okay. So I don't have I
Yeah.
don't have Charles Schwab, so I'm not sure I'm not sure about their procedures.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, guys, so we are going to end the call for today. Thank you so much for participating in today's workshop. So we do have a lot planned for you for the rest of the week. So the first thing you have is homework, okay? So with the homework, the first thing is for you to get into the Telegram chat and for you to get into the Facebook group if you're not already in the Facebook group, and for you to introduce yourself. So introduce yourself to the community in our Facebook group, and so that we can get to know you, right? So just let us know your name, and pretty much what you're all about so that we can become familiar with you as one of our new trustees in the Wealthy Trustee community. All right, so that's your homework for today. And then tomorrow we will be meeting together here at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time once again. And you will receive the email 1 hour before the call with all of the resources and templates that you're going to need for tomorrow. Tomorrow, we are going to be setting up the family trust together, okay? So I will see you guys here tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You guys have a blessed and amazing day. And thank you for participating. So bye-bye. Have a good day, everyone.
Bye,
Yes,
Christina.
you as well.